And we're going live.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Octa, it's good seeing you, by the way. Nice to have you back.
There we go.
Hey, big holler out there, everybody who's coming from Europe and joining us. It's awesome to have all you guys and ladies. It's a pleasure that you guys want to join us, I tell you. And thank you for taking the time. I know it's much later for you. So today, just so everybody knows for the class, today we're going to go through the footwork drills. We're not going to do all of them because you know how long they take, right? So we're going to do mostly the simple versions of them. We may not switch feet and do the funny foot versions. Yeah. So do whatever you're used to. If you have more time and you're done before we're done, go ahead and switch. Most of you know how to do the other versions.
If you are personally blasting through them, go ahead and do the extra.
Exactly. So, but we're going to try to shorten those so that we can add a little bit of more of the how these are used in fighting. Also, I want to add a little bit more on how you can practice this with another partner once we can start going outside and you have other partners to practice this with. I just want to pass that on. We're going to go through a little bit more stick work today and how to set up and how we can use our footwork around the lapel so that we can get more, understand why we would do one thing compared to the other so that we can think about that when we go into a fight. We can think about that and start adding that to the routine of processing and probing to what needs to be done next or what step you need to use in a fight to get what you want. Sir Louis is going to probably be doing most of that sword work. So he'll be burning through a lot of good sword work today. So, and then I want to make sure everybody knows, we talked a little bit earlier, this is really everybody's fight practice. So if you have ideas, if you have things you want to see, if there's stuff that, that you're having problems with or any of that kind of thing, go ahead and ping any one of us here, myself, Ronvalder, Louis, Cy, whoever that you're comfortable with, and talk to us because we are happy to try to add some changes in that, or at least cover the stuff you have. And who knows? I might, all of us might learn some stuff as well as covering those issues. So please, let's be interactive because best class you can ever be in is one that's interactive and we're all working together to all become better. So, and that is one of the keys of our fight practices here that we've been running for years is that everybody knows that they're just as important as anyone else in every practice. So all of you are really important. All of you have done a great job. Lots of you have invited others. Just coming and showing and being out there doing it is a gift to others in this group because the more you have, the more you feel like it's a community. So the more people want to come back for that community. So thank you. And let's go ahead and let's get some warm up in. So our first warm ups again, the flat foot squats. Again, watch your knees. You all know your own bodies. Watch. We had a couple of people that just started last week and had they had to stop, and they felt bad. They had to stop because they were tiring out. Don't feel bad. Push yourself. You want to push yourself, but don't push yourself to the point where you're hurting yourself because then you can't do it anymore. So find those places. It might just be a 5-minute break. So same thing goes with flat foot squats. The idea is try to get those legs at least flat to the ground, the back's here, okay? If you can't, that's fine. If you can only do half and then it starts hurting you, then stop there. Just do those. If you can go farther all the way down past the flat, go ahead. Just be careful because you're hyperflexing those knees, okay? And let's get 10 of those in. Try to keep that back nice and head up. Don't look down on the ground. That'll roll your shoulders down, which is one of the worst parts of in fighting as well, all right? We don't want to roll shoulders down because that rolls all that distribution of weight the wrong way. Your balance, your shield and sword are now pointing to the ground, so try to keep that head up, eyes up, and down. All right, this week I want everybody to start with a few neck rolls, okay? So go one way. We'll give it a count of 8. And let's go the other way. We're going to add more of these a little bit because we're going to start probably putting on helmets pretty soon. A lot of us probably haven't worn one for a while. So I want you all to think about working that neck a little bit because, once you get that back on, a stronger neck builds for better resistance against concussion. So,
can I do tips for neck
yes.
rolls? When you're rolling your head back, don't just crunch it straight back. Still try to extend your neck and like shove your chin towards the ceiling while your shoulders go down, because doing this, you'll hurt yourself.
Right. Thank you. So the next one's, let's do, this one's that one again where we're going to really push on our toes. So we're going to push up as high as you can. Get on those toes. And then all the way back down, stay on the toes. Now this time you're going to keep your back perfectly straight up and down. And back all the way to your toes. Really push up on them at the end and back down. Let's get 10 of those in. This one, really focus on that point where you're trying to catch your balance at the very top one when you're pushing on those toes. Because really we're working on balance at that point and strengthening our feet. And don't worry if you fall. I fall all the time here. Balance is balance. That's something you have to constantly work on. No, that's all right. All right, the next one. This is that shifting back and forth again. In other words, we're going to get in your stance, whatever stance you use, and I want you to shift all the way up onto those toes. Really be careful. I want everybody to take a look at their knees. Be careful that you're keeping your knee, and we'll shoot over to the foot cam here. Be careful of keeping your knee over your front foot. In other words, when I shift in here, this knee is still on the inside, not the outside of my foot. It's on the inside or over the big toe at least. And then get all the way there, shift all that weight. All that weight. As you get stronger, you can literally lift that back leg off. And then you're going to shift all the way back. And it's okay to be flat-footed here. You don't want to be too much on the heel because you'll lose your balance. You want to be nice and even. And then we're going to shift back forward. So let's get 10 of those in. When you do these, try to keep your height exactly the same. Your head shouldn't be bobbing up and down as you're moving this. Same with your back. Your hip actually has to transition as you shift forward. All right, so watch my back. Here I am. There I go. Really extending that out. And then back, you can notice my belt really never changes. I got it flat. Here it is. Nice and flat. I'm not going up and down. I'm just keeping that hip perfectly flat. And then up. And then when you get to that front, really try to lean into that toe a little bit. You'll feel like you're going to fall. And that's okay. That's what we're trying to get to. This last little bit is where you hold yourself before you're doing a passing step. So if I don't know how to do this, what happens is I get here and I want to do a passing step before I extend it all the way to where I can do a passing step. So the idea is if as soon as this back foot comes forward, my opponent can see it. But if I'm already transitioned this far, then all of a sudden you can cover distance without your opponent seeing it. So that's why it's important to be able to get all that point all the way to the forward, or still controlling yourself because your toe is foot is strong, you're in balance, and then you can do your passing step. All right, let's do it the other side. This is where I realized last week I should be doing these more because my balance on this side is not super great. And once again, it's not super good.
Well, typically takes more than 1 week to fix something.
I know. I just can't believe it took me this long to figure it out. It wasn't super great. All right. Always good to have stuff you have to work on. That's it. Should be really getting some nice warm up in those legs right now. The good part is we're not jumping into stuff. We're not stressing out stuff real fast. We're working on warming up the joints and lubricating those joints before we start pushing into them. All right, last one. Let's roll those ankles. All of this stuff is really, really easy to kind of roll through before you even start a fight practice. A lot of times, just make it an idea to get to fight practice a little early. While people are armoring up or you're armoring up, walk through some of these exercises instead of just jumping in and going. I'll talk to Okta next week. We might have Okta show us some shoulder stretching exercises and some work on those. Awesome, thanks, man. That way we can get some ideas of how to kind of warm up the shoulders a little bit before we get into throwing more often in these practices. So everybody, and go ahead and spotlight Okta. Oh, spotlight Okta for a second. All right, roll those ankles, guys. Before we get started. Hey everybody, say hi. This is Okta. He does a lot of great stuff. He does some club bell work and things. So we're gonna use him as a good resource to push our shoulders and stretch our shoulders and warm ups because I know he is. So thank you, man. All right. So
and by reputation, one of the most dangerous fighters on the Western Coast.
Yeah, and he is. He definitely is. He has the energy. So we'll post some video of him. He had some great fights that we watched the other day. All right, Side, all you.
All right, so we're running through these a little quicker today. We're gonna start with our 2-foot run. It's just 1 foot at a time in the box. Do it once leading with your left foot and once leading with the right foot. If you got extra time, go backwards.
Do we have any new folks today?
I don't think so.
We're just gonna check to see if we have any new folks today.
I think everyone's been here before.
Yeah, I think most people have all done this already a couple of times.
Yeah. All right, next one.
Yeah, totally missing the ladder
Pause for Sir Louis to fix the ladder.
here.
Then we're gonna jump into our hopscotch. So jump beside the box, in the box. Stay
Try
as flat as you can.
Yeah, try to keep nice and flat. You can see Side's really good at this.
Believe it or not, the more you squat, the easier it is.
And then backwards back. There we go. Try to keep that back nice and straight.
Oh, we have one new person, Eric.
Eric?
My first practice with you folks.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Welcome, Eric.
Feel free to chime in if we just completely glaze over something and you're lost.
Bridget has a new space she's working in today, which is awesome. All right. Look like everybody's doing pretty good. Let's go ahead and move to the next one.
Alrighty. Good Gonna be our basic drop step here. So 1 foot in the box, 1 foot out, drop open and close. So this is also, we've been calling this our skiers with the drop gather step. So drop gather, drop gather.
So it's important to do these right first, but as you get better, for the folks that have been doing this for a while, let's try to get these more into a burst. You're doing the crossing.
Drop open.
What?
I'm doing the drop open right now. Okay. Basic drop step. Oh, can you not do that one right now?
I don't know what you're talking about. This one. So this one, open, back. You're shuffling. So it's just an open and back. I know I get the two mixed up too. And then do it backwards if you can. Nice, Bess.
Oh, and Grimmer's outside.
Yeah, I know. Grimmer's looking good. I like the high cam he has on his deck. All right, Bridget, I'm gonna start pushing you to get a little lower. She's like, darn it.
Oh, Taran's here.
Awesome. Welcome, Taran.
Says he's having difficulties with the laptop, but he's watching and running outside.
All right. Good to see you, Blue. So again, guys, if you know how, if these are comfortable for you, now it's time to start bending those knees more and really bursting into them a little better. Yes. Remember, not up and down, straight up. Yes, Bess, I was actually talking to you. Remember, you're dropping into that step. Let's see it. Yes, that's better, Bess. Burst side to side. Yep. Exactly. Way to go. That's it, Blue. I'd like to see those feet a little more timed, okay? You're delaying. So as that 1 foot is dropping, the other should be sliding already. So watch getting your real wide. Yep, better. A little faster. There you go. Good. I like that Alex has, he's doing it with extra weight, called the baby. All right. Good. That's okay. Let's work on the next one.
So now we're going to do that same basic drop step, but we're going to make it bigger. So I'm starting outside the ladder and I'm going to go all the way to the other side. And I do that by getting lower and we lean further and you get that little push at the very end as that foot is leaving the ground.
And try to get back in your good stance, whatever that is. Try not to shorten that stance up too much.
And of course, backwards. Oh, Big Fist is full armor, helmet, sword, shield, and everything.
Nice job, Vanjie. That's the way to go. Watch, make sure your feet don't get too linear or too close together. There we go. Nice, Big Fist. Like all your gear. That's good. Pushing yourself. That's the win. You're doing great. Your steps are looking so much smoother. Who do we have in the garage over here?
I think your stuff's heavier than I remember.
Yeah. Oh, that's him. Okay. All right. Octa, you're looking good. Run. Remember that you want to focus on the drop step. Okay, so you're kind of speeding through them, but you're getting a little bit of hop. So what I see, what you're doing a little bit is kind of like jumping over here. Really focus on the lean and fall. Okay, because that's what we're looking. Right. Just so everybody can see how we use this is in this position. If I'm fighting side and I want to go over here, this is exactly what I'm doing. I may push over here, but then I'm changing this. It's starting to push over here, and then I fall into this step. Okay? If I jump, this is what it looks like to her. So it gives her an early tell. Here is I push and I lean and I burst into that space. So it's important to find the burst at the end in this exercise. All right.
Okay, next one. We're still using that idea of the drop step. I'm back to 1 foot in, 1 foot out, making it a little smaller again. This time we're going to reverse the order of the feet. So I'm going to drop this way, and this foot's going to hit first. That outside foot's going to come together, go apart. So this is the one that we're calling the shuffle step version of our drop step. When it gets bigger, it turns into a cross foot.
Right. So again, on this, you're shifting your body. Shift it, fall. Shift, fall.
And if you've got time, you can do it backwards.
Shift in that last one. Should almost feel like your butt is dropping into an empty space on that drill. Nice, Octa. That looks good. Very good. Good, Beth. Yeah, lean into those edges as deep as you can. Bro and Kenza, you guys are looking good over there. Very nice. Angie's being smart. She's taking her time figuring each step out, which is good. Sivrid, that's looking great. Nice, Alfwin. You're getting even a little bit of cross and distance on those. Those are good. Ooh, look at Blue. It almost looks like a professional. That's the way Dramaticus. He gets 2 days in a row. He worked with his son yesterday, so. Awesome, guys. This is great.
All right, this one.
Yeah.
Okay, next one we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to add angle into it. So I'm facing in towards the ladder now, and as I go to the other side, I'm going to face the other way. So I'm going around my imaginary opponent here.
And some of this, what's happening is you're leaning into a 45 with your hip, and then you're falling into that. Oops, I did it the wrong way. She's doing a clap. Oops, did it the wrong way again. Damn it.
There you go.
For me, if I remember to turn my hip first, it actually helps me shift my body. We'll be doing this one against the Lapel a little bit later, just so you can see how to switch those feet up in front of a person while you're fighting them. That's it. Good job, everybody's looking good. Nice, Bridget. So Angie, you're doing the open version of this, which is also a version, so that's fine. But remember, we're going to do the closing version or the shuffle version. So I'm going to show you again.
Oh, hold on.
So when you're here, the idea is you almost turn your hip and then let that back foot follow. So your foot comes across, we line for a second, and then we turn that out. And then we put our opponent in front of us. So the version, you're doing the one I did earlier, and that was I push over here and I take this foot into a more of a drop step is what you were doing. Which is legit as well. But again, remember with a shuffle, you get more distance. That's all.
It's all legit. It's just not the one we happen to be doing at this moment.
Exactly. So Bess, take the first step out of those. You're gonna step with this, with the step. So go 45 to the ladder, put 1 foot in the ladder, and then you're gonna turn the body and literally bring this foot across. And as you bring this foot across, make sure your foot is pointing at your opponent. And then I'm here. So I'm trying to make sure that my foot always turns a little bit, because if I don't turn my foot, then I'm over here and trying to adjust, and there's too much in the feet going on. So all I'm doing is bringing it across and turning, across, turning, across, turning. I'm literally getting into those 45s. There you go. Nice, Eflin. Those are looking great. Nice, Angie. Looking good there. Yeah, that's the way. Octa, that looks good. Keep your upper body a little bit square, straight up and down. All right. It's important we stay square up and down, because if we don't, and I'm leaning over, then you notice my body will never really move much. Where if I'm not straight up and down, I'm literally changing how much distance, I'm on this line, and then I come and I'm here. If I lean over, what happens is I'm here leaning over the ladder, and I'm still leaning, my head's still in the same space. So we don't want that. I'm over here, I'm over here.
And all of your shots are angled at your opponent's knees.
Right. And we all know what leaning your shoulders into something does. We want to get that out of stuff. We don't want our head turned down. All right.
All right, next one. We're going to stick with the shuffle step we've been doing, but we're going to add a step onto the front of it. So 1 foot in, 1 foot out, facing down again instead of in. I'm going to step forward and then do my shuffle step. This is our 3-step that we've been calling it. Step forward, do the shuffle at the other side. This is still a drop step. I move this here and I'm just shifting all the weight to drop.
And as you get better at this one, you can burst from one side of the ladder to the other a little bit. So you can step, burst.
And right now, this is still without crossing the
Right.
feet. We're just bringing them together. Next one, we'll cross our feet.
Right. So when I say burst, your feet will slide with your hip. So the farther you go with your hip, the more your feet are going to slide, even just gathering them. You can see as they both go up in the air, you get a little bit of distance.
And if you have time, go ahead and run it backwards. If you're still working on the basic step, just keep doing it forward.
Yep. All right, we'll take a look, see how everybody's doing. Nice, Bess. You got that one. Blue, you're looking great. Angie, that's exactly it. As you get comfortable at that, I'm going to want you to push a little harder, okay? Good. Kensia's gonna, she's looking great out here. She's really bursting through that stuff. Corrigan looking off camera right now, so we'll check. William, you're looking great over there again. I like your bursting really good. That's it. Bridget, give me thumbs up if you're working on getting down in those legs. I know I'm working you hard today. I want you to complain you don't like me.
She complains to me that her legs hurt.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to short her.
You're doing it.
That's the way, Alex. Good. You're doing a great job with what you have to work with over there. It's awesome. Grimmer, that looks great, man. Really, really good. Nice, Dramaticus. Very nice. Let's see what you're doing, Corrigan. Oh, yeah, that's the idea. That really getting that fast skip in there. That was the way. All right, Angie's starting to get some energy in those too now. She's even backwards, which is hard. Yeah, Sivert, you go, buddy. All right, everybody's looking great. We're going to work to the next one. I like Alex is doing 2 for 1. He's cooking dinner and our lunch and doing drills in his kitchen.
All right, so now we're going to do basically the same thing, but we're going to start out a little wider on our ladder and get more distance, because this time we're going to go ahead and let our feet cross. So I'm taking that step forward, and now I'm coming behind and across. Forward, shift, still a drop step.
Yeah.
Secretly, in the end, everything is a drop step, just about.
And really what we're trying to do with almost all of these is to understand to move our center before we move our feet.
So this is our very creatively named cross behind.
Now give it a try backwards if you can, or with funny feet, it doesn't matter.
This one switches every time, there's no funny.
Oh, that's right. This one switches back and forth, so backwards would be more. My right to left is bouncy. Good. When you go backwards, remember your foot's coming across the front. Nice, Dramaticus. Big fist, you're looking really good there. Yeah, you have it. That's exactly, you got it. Perfect. Make sure you're getting into those legs. In other words, bend those knees. And that's going to give you more burst as you bend those knees. You guys can start adding more burst at the end. So you're going to shift your center, and right at the end, you're going to just burst right through it. Nice, Bridget. Paul, you're looking good right there. You're doing a nice job staying upright. Your up and down is really good.
A question, if that's okay.
What's the question?
Question is, you mentioned that when we're going backwards, the feet cross in the front.
Yes.
I'm finding that super difficult.
Okay.
Is that just the fact that I haven't really done this before, or does it matter whether you do it front or back?
So the only part I'd say is make sure and I'll show you on camera here, is that we're supposed to take that step back. If you don't take the step back, then you can just drop back if you want. But the idea is the reason why we go across the front on this is we step back, we fall across. We step back and it frees that space in front of your leg.
Okay, right.
Okay?
Sure, thanks.
But again, so if you're going to go backwards without stepping, then it's perfectly fine. I would do it back in the back of the foot. All right, we're going to just look a little bit here. William, you're looking great there. Once again. Nice, guys. Kensa and Vern are crushing it over there. That's awesome. All right, Blue, just be careful on your, be careful on turning your body. Try to keep it as straight as possible forward. I love the baby stuff there.
That's what Lindsay's.
All right. Bess, give me thumbs up if you're feeling pretty good with these. All right, good. You're looking okay. Yeah, you're looking like you're doing well. So Bess, I'm going to push you into really starting to look at those bursts in here. Just letting yourself to be free. Yeah, like that. That's it. Just trust it. If it fails, who cares? We'll just fix it in the next one. Yeah, now you see that's much smoother. There you go. Good. Nice. Very good.
One of the things I was finding is the bigger backwards your step is, or the more you move backwards, the easier it is that cross to the front is when you're going back.
Exactly. And then that's 100%. It really does free that front foot to go across. All right. Okay. Hey, Kevin.
I'm here to take the car.
Oh, you need keys.
Nope, I got them.
Oh, okay. No problem.
And then just let me know when you need me to come back.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, next one.
All right, so now we're moving into our creatively named 4-step. So this is really just 2 drop steps in a row is all it is. So I'm starting off to the side and I'm coming and I'm drop, close, drop again out the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hence 4-step. And the goal is to make it sort of one continuous fall to the side through both of these drop steps.
If I can do them right. Damn. I probably messed half of those up. Make sure you land back in your stance. So what this is doing for you in a fight is it's allowing you to travel past your opponent sometimes and get around them. So if in example here, let's turn sideways a little. In the example here, I could do just this step over here, okay? And she's keeping up with me. So I can literally, so this is getting this space where I'm not pulling my foot, the foot's staying a little longer and I'm just drop stepping constantly. And then I can get a little bit more distance. You'll find that most people turn in place, they rotate, instead of following you like Saib was just doing for me. Looking good, Akta. So in this case, what's happening is Saib is following me, and we're going to talk about this later. This is very important in fighting. But a lot of people will rotate. If I shift to my side here, she's just going to rotate and do this. The key about rotation is that person's following your lead, which means you're controlling that fight. You're a step ahead because you're the one leading it. So if I know that she rotates, now I could add an extra step in there, right? Or I can make it look, I can give it a little drop, a little lean over here like I'm going to go this way. Go ahead, stand. There we go. I'm just going to get lean like I'm going this way. And then I'm going to shift. And now she's almost a full beat behind me. So this is the reason why that leaning into the body, I can lean here and then lean back the other way, do a gather step. I can lean here. I can do 2 gather steps. So that's why we're doing these gather steps, small gather steps. And in this case, you're going to rotate around your opponent. But because they're behind you in the pace and you're in control, it gives you all the benefit.
If I start to follow you based off of which way you lean, do you not lean then?
If you start following me, so that's what they call a probe. There's a lot of other ways to talk about it, but I want to see what my opponent's going to do. So the idea is, here's a huge example of this. If I'm out here, and we'll practice this on a step later, but if I'm out here and I want to transition some range, I might lean over here. If I see her shift back into that back foot, I know she's going away. So my attack might have to be a little tighter. So if I see her lean, I push, and then I might have to do here to get in closer to her. If she doesn't lean away and she leans with me, then my attack might be over here, right? Because if I go forward and she doesn't shift and I go forward, then we're too close. So this is the reason why you add a little bit of motion and you can see what their body's doing. And by knowing what they're going to do, it may change what your footwork has to be done. So we want to know. I don't always want to apply footwork in a position that I don't know what the response is. Okay? So I want to figure out that response. Here it is. I know she just leaned sideways, so I'm gonna kept that same range, added double step in there, and I still have that good range. I'm leading. But if she falls backwards and I do that same thing, now we're such a distance, you're in the void, there is no one winning. The other way I was winning because I was ahead and still in range. In this one, she bails out, now I'm not ahead. All right, next.
All right, next one, we're gonna do our lateral in and out, out. So that's sideways down the ladder. Gonna step in, out, out, all the way down, and then come back the other way to get the other foot.
So much trouble with that.
And this one is largely an agility exercise, just getting those feet moving.
Together. Nice, Octa. I see you really focusing on in and out with those hips. That's good. Yeah. That's when those are really... Yeah, so Elfwin, on these, I'm going to show you a little bit different.
Hold on.
We're going to spotlight me for a second. Remember, you're here, here, here. Wait a second. Yeah. You're driving this foot. No, I can't do it. Here, slide will do it.
Out, out.
Yeah, bring them together in.
Both feet go into the box, both feet go back
Right.
out. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be left, right, left, right, left, right the whole way.
And make sure you're evening your balance out. Like one foot, this is in, this is in, this is out. You know, the idea is don't just get to a place where you're barely touching this other foot, you know, type of deal. Really, you know, get those, pound them in. Okay?
Is this one about speed or about stack?
You want to keep stacked,
Yes.
but ultimately we want it nice and fast. Okay, so when you're comfortable that you're doing it right, then do it fast. And the way to do that fast is get down into the legs a little deeper. Like
Because if I pendulum, I can do it much faster.
What's that?
If I pendulum, I can do it much faster.
Yeah, be careful on pendulum them. And you're 100% right. That's a pretty boxer thing anyways, pendulum them. So you can do them both ways. One, do it a fast set. The second set, do it as a really, I'm going to work on where my hip is. Right? Bring it down and work on your drop in, drop out, drop in, drop out. Right? So you take that one slower. Then later, add some speed and agility. Okay? So you can do them both ways. Both actually have reasons to do it that way. All right.
Next one, we're going to do our in and out, out, but forward this time, facing down the ladder. So I'm starting in a box. I'm going to go out to the side and in. It's kind of like the hopscotch, but you're moving 1 foot at a time instead of jumping.
And remember which foot you're starting with.
Again, this should be left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right the whole time. You shouldn't have to double step with a foot at any point.
Yep. And then backwards. Keep your back nice and straight. Nice, Octa. Nice, Angie. You're doing a good job. I like Silver. Actually has to pick up his feet every once in a while because he catches a ladder. Woo, look at Bridget go. Holy cow. Let's see you, Grimmer. Are you okay? Okay. Your knee okay? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Woo, look at Kansas go. She is moving too. Almost looks like the video's on high speed for her.
Who?
Is it Kensa?
Ksenia?
Ksenia. I'm going to get your name right, Ksenia, one of these days.
Or Ksenia, I forget, but something like that.
That was closer than before.
I know, totally.
What's the correct one again?
Say the correct, oh, no, later. So what's the correct one?
Ksenia.
Ksenia. Side's trying to get me right. All right. All right, Bess, I want one pass as fast as you can do them. That's it, fast. Come on, faster. Yes. Now backwards. Let's go. That's it. Keep going. All right. That's better. All right. I'm pushing you today. Nice, Angie. Way to keep your back stacked. Next week, I want them faster for you. Or in 2 weeks, probably. All right. Very good. All right. We're ready for the next.
Now we're moving into our jab jumps. So, 1 foot forward, 1 back. They stay that way the whole time. And we're just going to jump in and back out. Whole body moves in and out.
So this one's hard. This can be done fast or good. So remember, again, you're going to have a little bit of a drop step, but it's like you lift both feet at the same time, and then you're back. You sit forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. And then you have to get it even smaller.
And make
That
sure
one ain't
you
getting
bring
nice on my
the
ankle.
other foot forward. Probably going the other direction.
Nice. You're doing great. This is a really, really good step to have in your fighting. I'm going to tell you, I think as you guys see it work, you're going to really see where this comes off and how it works in fights, where you literally push tension on people with this. And then you use that tension and that reply to build your next shot. Nice, Octa. That's the way to speed those up. Really, really good. Make sure you don't turn that front foot in. Good, Blue. Watching you, Big Fist. Nice. You're doing a great job transitioning forward and back on those, Big Fist. That's the way. Paul, you feel good about these? So remember, just think about it as almost like you're falling right into your opponent, and then you're falling away from them. Okay?
Okay.
So if I'm fighting side, here we are. I'll get into a view we can see. Here I am. I'm pretty far away. So now I want to see how she's going to reply to me attacking her. So I can see that her feet stayed in place. She didn't move those, but she leaned back, which is good for me, which means I can apply a deeper push next time. So the idea is her feet went a little too long and she lost balance by pushing her back. So now I'm going to take a double jab in this case. I'll jab foot and then probably a passing step to keep range. You can see what happens there is that I'm literally leaning over the top, not leaning over the top, but she's falling on top of her. So I'm going to show it once more.
Oh, thanks.
How I do it. I give them a quick jab step to see what they do. And you see how her back lane? So I'm going to do it really slow. So you're going to do the same thing you did just a minute ago. See how she leaned back? I'm reading that. What's my brain telling me? She is in bad place right now. So there are two things I could do. One is I'm also going to watch where that shield goes. I could give her a jab and then drop to the leg. Because her back lifts, the bottom of the shield's going to lift and leave a little bit of leg open. The other is if I'm way out, I might give her a little bit and do a passing step and beyond. So here it is, slow motion, a little bit, and then a passing step and throw. Okay? So that little jab step allows us to learn what our opponent's going to do before we attack them. If she doesn't lean back and she just falls away, okay, I can double jab here. I can pass step. Probably, if she's falling straight back, I still have some opportunity, but she's more dangerous. So I jab, and then I can do a passing step, but she's more dangerous now because she's staying stacked. Where I could do is I could make her fall away. There we go. No big deal. I'm going to make her feel bad for falling away. See, she's like, I feel bad. Oh, now she's not leaping anymore. Now it's too late. See how I built that? That's how you can build that closing of range to an opponent that's always falling away. You take out their comfort. If they just fall away and fall away and fall away, what happens is sooner or later they're going to be like, okay, I'm tired of this guy fooling me. I'm going to hold my ground. And that's when you can take advantage of that. So you're breaking the tempo of the fight. All right?
Next one.
Yep.
Now we're going to do our switch foot. So 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and switch. Next spot, same thing.
Bend your knees. That's the way, Bess. You're keeping nice and low. Really good. Now you're flowing in those. That's nice. All right, so this switch foot is used a lot more than we think it is. The problem is we don't think about it normally when we use it. So, hey, Abelard. So, that's it. Good. Very nice. Woo! Dang, is that William? Yeah, he's crushing it. Uh-oh. Getting those legs, huh, Bess? All right. Let's see, Andrew. Yep, switch. Get that back nice and straight. There we go. Good. All right, so you're stepping in and out. This is literally switch in place. Go back to her. Yeah. Okay, so watch here. If I'm over this line, I'm just switching. And then I lean a little bit. And I replace my steps.
This is a jump up in the air, both feet off the ground, both foot land at the same time.
Right, it's not, I'm back here. It's not that. It's literally, it's almost a turning hip drill. All right? So you should be almost traveling a straight line. Yep. I'm going to let you guys do this one once more. Yeah, that's the way, eighth one. Awesome. Nice, you're digging in a little bit too. I like it. Corrigan, that's awesome. You're looking good there. All right. All right, so in a fight, I'm just going to show you something that, and you'll see some boxers do this. Thai boxers do this to use both feet sometimes a little more effectively. So in a fight, I may be here. I might push over here to get her to feel some pressure on this side, right? And then I might just throw a switch foot and throw a wrap. And there's going to be two different reasons here. I'm going to show you with a sword why we would switch foot in this. Is here I am, I push over here. I'm to the back, almost back. I'll turn around. Here I am. If I don't switch foot and I lean here and I lean here, you see I'm on the front part of her hip. If I lean here and I switch foot, okay, little roll, even if I just throw it, I can actually throw it to the back hip. Because that hip is farther forward, almost like you're going funny foot for a second and then going back to your normal stance. So also in a fight, you can use this as tension. So I could be fighting and she's worried about this hand, right? She's worried about my right hand. So now I'm like, yeah, because she knows that right hand just became super dangerous and changed range. Right? So I know what she's doing. So I want to make her keep her tense. How do I do that?
Well, and unless I'm specifically watching for it, I probably don't notice that what happened is his feet switched. I just see,
Right.
and I feel the tension and freak out.
Right. And what happens is you actually feel the tension where it's going.
It can be real sneaky.
So, because if I just do a straight stomp foot, right, or a jab foot, if I do a jab foot, look what happens, right? Okay, ready? See how she goes straight back? Now watch what happens when I do a switch foot. Right, she's pulling that shoulder back because there's this arm. Your head recognizes it. You may not actually be able to speak it, but your brain will see that faster, and you'll pull the thing away that's in danger.
Well, I'll pull this thing, and then I'll just be like, look at this leg right here.
Exactly.
Because I didn't move it.
Exactly. So that's how you can use a switch foot. You can also use a switch foot while you're really close to somebody. So if all of a sudden I'm fighting inside, ready? And I'm here, and I want to throw a wrap, okay? Here we go again. Here I am. I'm here. I want to throw a wrap. Pretty flat on her hip. Here I am. I give her some energy to switch feet. Now I'm throwing it way behind.
Into my spine.
Right? Because I threw this hip is farther ahead and more dangerous again. So that's how we can use that switch foot, but we have to think about it. We have to find those places. And that's why we practice this. The more you practice it, you'll be like, I'm going to switch my feet, throw that hook wrap. That will become one thing. Okay? That would just become natural.
And I'm not sure at which point you said falling off to the side seems like a good idea in the chat there, but yeah, in a lot of cases it is. It's just a matter of how you fall off to the side.
Right. If you're pulling your back.
Don't do the look at my leg while you fall the upper body.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
This is where you're balanced. In fact, go ahead and grab this shield. I want to make sure everybody can see this. This is where your keeping stacked becomes super important. So if I all of a sudden throw the switch foot and she just pulls her back, you see how she can't throw very well anymore,
Like,
and she's out of balance.
Up and down.
Even if she starts falling back, she's out of balance. Her body's tilted up, her shots are changed, she can't throw a low leg shot. Now what happens if I throw a switch foot and she just shifts her center back? Oh, now she's naturally falling into that drop step. And she can still throw. In fact, in this case, it was great because if I do a switch foot, she can throw right away. That's why it's so important to keep nice and stacked in your fight. All right? So that's just something I want you all to really think about. Right? Here we are. This is the lean back. See? It's hard to actually fall because she's trying to catch her balance.
It leaves that foot.
And it leaves that foot where it's, but here she's going to just shift everything into the hip. See, now she actually broke off an angle. It's hard for me to follow. And that's what you guys are learning. You're learning how to break these angles off. Right?
Could you
And
not also, instead of doing the shield block, so Brian, you're throwing the leg or the wrap at that point in time, could you not also do that switch foot thing to get that leading leg out the way?
You could.
Yeah, totally. You're talking about, so here I am, and she's going to throw this leg, right? My shield leg.
You're throwing at her leg. Yeah, or same thing, yeah. You throw at her leg and she
I throw, and this leg's out. The only problem in switch foot is that you're not gaining any range, so be careful of your inside leg.
Ah, okay.
So this is what Rongvalder does on these. It's probably not the greatest thing in the world, but he makes it work, and we just have, sometimes you will do techniques that aren't great, that are reactionary and still work.
Okay.
The key is that know that you're gonna do it and know that there's weaknesses. But here with Rongvalder's doing something, right? And he starts throwing to this leg. He tends to stick, he'll pop that butt out, pull those legs together, and then drop back into place. So that sticks. So as I throw this, she's gonna pop the leg out and then come back.
So what if you did the switch foot at the same time? So like if he's throwing, you know, that's the switch foot, like couldn't you just, not even if you don't throw, even if you just block or get your leg out the way, right? And then back into stance again.
I switch foot and throw at you. You can do the exact same thing back and switch foot.
Yeah, in fact, let me show you a real quick one. And I'm going to switch foot, and instead of her falling away, she's going to fall off to my side and throw something. So here I am. Ready? So as I switch foot, you switch foot and fall this way.
Oh.
See, now she really has the outside of me,
Yeah.
right? You can see what, she can't do that if she doesn't switch foot. But in this case, here I am. I'm going to take this step and she's going to switch foot. See, now she's over on my shield side. I can't keep up with her.
And the switch gives you the momentum to pivot too.
Right, it's creating energy, right?
And it
Yeah,
pulls
yeah.
that front leg out of the way a lot
So,
faster.
That's why I wanted to show you guys a little bit more about how we're using this in a fight. Okay,
We got 2 more.
we got 2 more. We're going to wrap it up with these last 2. Ready?
We're going to do our jab jump. We're going to go forward 2 rungs and then backwards 1.
Let's get some distance if you've been doing these for a while. Really look at that long jump. Hold that foot to the last second. Stay on the balls of the feet. Last one was terrible. The others were okay.
And then go ahead and switch to your funny foot and do it that way too.
I'm going to try it with my ankle in. Don't let your front foot turn in. Make sure it's still pointing whatever direction that you normally would be in. You're really falling into those now. Good, Bridget. Abelard, you're doing a great job keeping your back straight this week. Louis, what's the guy's name from? Getulio? Hey, Getulio, it's nice to have you with us, man. Everybody's looking pretty good here. Oh, look, Vic Fist is trying to do the back stuff too. Good.
Julio says he didn't think he was going to make it.
I'm glad you could make it, man. He has a cat as a partner too. Good, Paul. You're looking good there. That was much better.
I also just want to give a shout out to Abelard for joining us late and still doing the warm-ups before jumping in.
Yeah, good job, Abelard.
Being smart.
Yes. Starting to get dark where Angie is. She's like, I can imagine where this stuff is now.
Get you a floodlight.
All right. So again, you all know what this step is for in fighting. We did it, you know, with the small jab step. All right, and I'll do it with a big jab step. So here we are. I'm this distance from side. I'm a little bit farther away this time. So I might give her a small jab step to start, right? And see how fast she flows away. If she doesn't flow away very fast, then I might go ahead and give her a little bit of pressure and then release it and then jump. And I'm still in striking range. Because she's falling at its point where she believed I was going to jump last time, but this time I extend that jump. All right? So this is the same exercise as we'll do against the Lapel where we're going to jab and then we'll fall off, right? And we'll take advantage of tension in your opponent. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about tension in your opponent because tension in your opponent tells you what you need to do. The more you figure out your opponent, the more you can hold tension in your opponent, that you can see where their tension is applied, the more you understand what your opponent's going to do, the easier it is to block or create throws.
Now, Bronis, when you say tension, do you mean physical, emotional, or both tension?
It usually starts physically. Later, when you totally have control of somebody through physical tension, it starts breaking their emotional tension down.
Okay.
All right? It's hard to just apply emotional tension right straight out.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and do our last ladder drill of the day, and then we can dig more into the rest of that. This is our turning one, so it's the weird one. We're going to skip a lot of the variance and switching feet and switching sides, and we're just going to do normal stance, back foot, front foot. I'm in my normal stance. I take my back foot, point down the ladder, flip around, back into my stance. Back foot points down the ladder, flip around back into my stance. Starts with the back foot every time.
And again, you're just falling. I'm falling forward. I'm falling forward, and it turns to back. So this, we got to control fall forward, and in transition, we have a turn and fall back. So our drop is becoming forward and then back. So we're really controlling two motions here, and we're flowing from one to the other. And this is creating more understanding in your body how to shift your center and change that center of balance much smoother. And that's what this exercise can do for you.
And then after you do all the way down, stepping with the back foot, go back to your same normal stance and redo it. But this time it starts with your front foot every time. So that front foot's going to step facing down the ladder, flip back around into your stance. Starts with the front foot, back to stance.
And this one's a little, for me, this, I don't know about you guys, this one's a little harder because if I get too much emotion forward and backwards balance, and I lose that front foot. So here you really have to keep it super small. You can't have as big of a change of balance. So what we're learning is how to control that, how to control our body more and more through those. All right, so if you guys finish those up, I'm gonna watch. And if you're comfortable with what you're doing, go ahead and get some water. And then we're gonna jump into some Pel stuff. We're gonna do some rotational exercises on the Pel. So again, find a place where you can put it against the wall, put it, if you have enough room, put it in the center of the room. If you have done these before and you're comfortable with doing rotational stuff on the Pel, I would expect that you go ahead and use your sword and shield. Paul, that looks great, man. You're doing a nice job. Those turns, you're really comfortable in your turns. But I would expect that everybody, go ahead and do this. Even with sword and shield, the idea is to stay in perfect position. Your sword and shield, you don't even really need a sword and shield. You could grab two dowels and put them in your hand. Pretend they're sword and shield. It doesn't matter. If you don't have an area to strike on, that's fine. You just pretend. You don't have to hit something to make your technique good. And I'm more worried about technique than hitting something. Power will happen, all right, with good technique. Nice, Getulio. That's good. The good part about this exercise is you're learning how to do passes with people, and you're learning how to turn your foot. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They'll not turn their foot, and we pass by people instead of passing around them. So that's why this becomes a big part of the fight. All right, I'm going to get our Pel ready, and then Louis probably, are you up to it?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Back hurting? Okay. We're going to see how much Louis can do. Otherwise, because my shoulders are a little rough right now, I'll probably do some with the foam. Louis is going to do some. He just may not be able to do all the way through them. And so we'll switch off, showing you some technique. The biggest piece around this, again, is form. I don't care about swords and all of that other stuff. And we have lots of people using different weapons, which is good. I see people using foam. I see people using steel. Any of that's all good stuff. But the biggest piece here is we're going to work our feet. And I'm going to push you guys into making those feet even bigger on these circular transitions. Is it right up in the corner of your neck?
Pinch something where if I tilt my neck this way, I can feel it.
Is that something? All right. Make sure you're getting yourself some drinks. And we've had some great questions today. Part of drills are great, but also part of the education of fighting is to understand how you can apply stuff. Many of these footwork drills in a ladder is really helping you learn how to control your body. But I want to show you how it applies as well. So really a lot of the same exercises we do in the box are same exercises we do around our opponent. If you see in a lot of places, people don't tend to circle their opponents very well. Of course, you can't circle an opponent on, you can, but it's rude. Can't circle an opponent on a ground need. But if he's standing and they just turn their upper body, I'm going to tell you, there are some keys. If you're fighting an opponent and you step off one side and they just turn and their feet don't move, look what happened. You disengaged his hips, right? So whoever that opponent is, him, her, whatever, but you disengage their hips, which means here I'm comfortable throwing straight in front of me. As soon as I'm here, I don't have that straight in front of me open anymore because my hip is so far back. So you're literally taking shots away from people because you're getting them out of their comfort zone. The more you can keep a person out of their comfort zone, the more you're in control of that fight. Like I said last week, Al-Anon brings this up. We do not have to be in a rush to kill our opponents. You can break them down somewhat physically and then break them down mentally in a fight before you actually kill them. If they feel like you're moving so well they can't keep up, they start getting in panic mode. If they feel like you keep their tension up, and it's easy to keep somebody's tension up and still find your breath, and you got them in tension constantly, and I keep applying his jab foot, you make a switch foot, and I'm relaxing because I know, I'm like, I can talk and still do this stuff, right? Because I've been practicing, right? It's good. It's just this relaxed boxing work, right? Well, that other person's like, huh, huh, hey, and the tension's coming up into their shoulders. And what happens as soon as that tension comes across the top of their body, it starts compressing their lungs. Because you don't get as much lung spread when your body is tense because you don't have that space. So there's some articles on this, especially Black Belt Magazine, it talks like you lose up to 20% of your oxygen intake by keeping somebody in tension. So you're literally I used to do this, I used to wait till somebody would start breathing out, and then I'd give them a jab step and they'd suck that bad air back in. And you're literally kind of, you're making, what's happening with them is they're sucking CO2 back in and they're not able to get the oxygen. So they're getting oxygen starved to their system. So they start panicking because they don't know what to do. Normally when people panic, they just start going backwards. Well, guess what? Now you just follow them right on the edge. And now they're really panicking because they don't think they can find the time to breathe. That's where that mental part that Bess was talking about, because now you're literally making people panic. And so now either if they can't leave, now they're going to jump on you and throw whatever they can, but you're ready. You don't care. So as soon as you're walking them and it's sort of like, oh, I'm going to run at him. And then you're like, oh, no big deal. And then he's like, I can't catch up, so I'm going to back off. Oh, no, you're not. Right? So they're never getting a space to relax, but you're in total control. So in Eastern European boxing, that's in Muhammad Ali, that's the push and the pull. We're going to push energy, and then when they show that energy, I'm going to go ahead and pull the energy, and then I'm going to push them back into energy, and then I'm going to pull that energy out of them. They're using a lot of energy. I am not. So that's how you end up being in a place where you're controlling your opponent, right? And so we're going to make sure. I just want to give a base on that, and that's what we're talking about in tension. So tension can literally go all the way up that scale, all right? And you can, I've seen Rongvalder put enough tension on somebody that, halfway through practice, right in the middle of a bout, the guy puked because he had so much tension in his stomach. It made him feel upset, his stomach, and he just couldn't hold nothing. I put tension on people where they put so much tension, everybody holds tension a different way. Put so much tension in their back, they had to quit because their back seized up and they got Charlie horse all across their back. So that tension is something that's a real thing that can be used. We just have to know what it is and understand it. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and do some of the simple pass around drills on our PEL. So you want to go through the first one? You going to try it? Or is that if you're really hurting bad, don't.
I just can't.
Okay.
Neck at all.
Okay. So first one is going to be the simple drop step. If you got a sword and shield, go ahead and hold it up. If you have your hands, hold it up. This is the part I don't want to see. I don't want to see these do this. I don't want to see him box out, backing out. Every time this gap goes, your opponent sees it and has an opportunity. So here I fall right into this step. You can see my hands never move. So that's part of this. But the first part is simple drop step around your opponent. I point my foot, I gather the other one. So that's just the gather step. Here I am, and we're going to go around. Now I want you to count the distance and work on getting farther every time. All right? So if I hold this longer, if I just do this, and it's going to take me 10 times to get around the lapel. I want to hold, I'm going to put my lean, this hip into this corner, and at the last second, burst. I'm going to lean again, burst, lean again, burst, right? Whoops, fall backwards. And then you're really at that burst, you're getting around your opponent. What this drill is teaching us is how to turn our foot and how to burst into something. Again, I could lean here, put some pressure, and then I'm over here. So we're going to go ahead and do one side and then switch to the other. Then if you have a sword, after the first time around without throwing, you could go ahead and add a sword throw. So here I am. If it's the first time throwing, I suggest doing your good feet and then throwing a shot. Good feet, throw a shot. Set up. If you've been doing it for a while, as that foot lands, you should be throwing a shot. All right, so I'm going to do it the other way now. I'm going to watch. Grammar, that's looking really good. Good, Angie. Nice, Corrigan. Away. Abelard, you've come such a long way. I'm really proud of you. Nice job, Fix This. All right, Bridget, keep your hand a little closer in. You're holding it outside again. Point your basket at the person. Yeah, right there. Yes. Good. Octa, man, your timing is beautiful. Good. Nice job. Nice sides, Paul. Good work back and forth on that bell. Got it. Good. So, I've got a question. A circle. Let me pull that question up. All right. The circle you use around the lapel looks like it's about 2.5 radius. So the circle we did is we literally put the basket on the floor, the basket hilt on the floor, and made a circle with the tip all the way around, keeping the basket on the center. So it's about probably maybe 60 inches, 60 to 70 inches. So somewhere in there. It doesn't need to be perfect, just long enough that you can still throw a shot and use the circle as your guide for your feet to land on. Okay? Hopefully that helps. All right. Getulio, that's nice. You're doing a good job there. I want bigger steps now. All right. Remember, fall into them. Lean your hip right into that 45 and fall right into it.
and catch yourself. Yeah, exactly. So you see all that power as you're dropping, you're catching it. So be careful. What you're doing is when you lean, you're leaning your whole body. Don't lean your body. Push your hip into it. So here's my hip. I turn. I push that hip and then I fall. But my body stays the same. What I see is this. You lean and then fall into it. But you're literally falling down. You want to keep that body nice and straight. Lean. Push your hip over your front feet and you'll fall right into it just by pushing your hip over your feet. Watching you, Bridget. Let's see. Nice. All right, remember, I want those hips to move first. Your foot is moving first. Bridget, I want you to lean. So you're using your foot first. Push that hip. Get the hip over your foot and then lift the foot. There you go. That was better. Good. Nice. Sivert, you're looking good over there. Yeah, dead last. Sivert, those are the way. You're starting to time your drop foot with your sword. Very nice. Woo, that's nice. Trying to get started, Ketsa. I'm going to blow up your name again, but I have to tell you, you're still doing a great job. Those are really well timed. Very nice.
I must say, this week we switched over to using the youth, the 1-inch core rattan foam. That's so much easier to do this with.
Yeah, and the good part there is you're learning how to do it right. And if you're having a problem with your rattan, then it's easier to make that next jump and figure out what's going on. Could be a gauntlet problem. It could be a weight problem with your sword. Maybe your sword's a little too long. Could be any of those things.
It's also just softer on the impact.
Yes, it helps your hands a ton, especially if you're hitting. Do not be careful on hitting straight wood with a rattan sword. You will get so much shock in your hand, it will hurt you after a while. That's why you see some people wrap their pels with rope. All right, we're ready for the next one. So in the next one, we're gonna, tell me if I skip again. We're gonna do essentially a shuffle step, or a crossover step, excuse me. Let's see, I already skipped. So we're gonna take this foot, bring it over. Again, I'm not pointing it away. Look, now I'm pointing away from my belt. I gotta turn. So I gotta turn. Now I'm pointing this way across. So here's my foot when I turn it. So let's see if I can find a sword. I'm gonna go the other way so you guys can see it. So if I'm here, here we go. And I start bringing this foot back and I turn it out, look where my sword goes. It's following my hip, right? But if I don't turn it out, see? It's just staying in my hip. And now my feet, I'm still pointing, right? But if I start turning and I turn this hip so far back, then my whole body lines and I lose all my opportunities for throwing. So we want to make sure. Here I am, and I bring this foot right across and turn. Here I am. Okay, here I am with throws. Here we go. There's a couple places to throw in this one. Louis showed you a couple weeks ago. So the first place you can throw is on this step, on the first step, and then on the last step. I would suggest if you're first starting this, throw on the last step to start, or just pick one. You could throw on the first one if that's what you want. Right? And then we're going to rotate around. And when on the rotation the other way, the foot goes behind. All right, let me watch a few people how we're doing. That's the way, Octa. Nice. So Octa, I'm going to ask you to strike not only on the first step, but on the second as well. Because I know you can do it. So the first step is you're crossing feet. As that touches the ground, you hit. And then when you step into the last one, you hit again. Yes. What you're trying to do there is just find the time to change. There we go. Sometimes that takes a little bit. All right, Bridget, how you doing over there? Looks like some guests. You're doing good? Good. Happy to hear that. Let's see what Germanicus is doing here. That's the way. There's your first strike, Germanicus. There's your second. Exactly. What you've been working on. And with two swords, this is important for you. Good. Grimmer, that's your time and throwing really nice stuff. I want you to stop leaning your head down, though. I want you to be big and tall like you are. I want you to, when you go out in the woods, I want to reporting Bigfoot sightings, okay? All right. Bigfoot doesn't look down. There we go. Nice, Blue. I can't wait to see you fight again. Elfwin, nice job with the two sticks. Everybody's looking so much nicer with these cross steps across their opponents, I have to say. So again, why do we do a single crossing foot like this instead of just a gather step? I'll take an answer from anybody.
We get more distance.
You got it. Exactly. We're getting more distance, right? So I may do a simple gather step first. So I could be here and I do a gather step and they turn. They estimated, now they feel comfortable because they turn and cut me off. But now I might say, okay, I'm going to make them think I'm going that way again, but this time I'm going to do a crossing step. They turn was a good turn, but now I'm actually deeper. So that's again how we figure out what your opponent's going to do and how we take advantage of it. So it may be little, just naturally. So you may have an opponent. Hold on. I'm on. All right. You may have an opponent. Yeah. You may have an opponent that stands here, and as you do a rotational step, he just turns that much. He doesn't turn his back foot, but he turns his front foot a little bit. This is still putting him off, is still keeping his hip back. So this time, I do a crossing step, and if he has to try to turn, I'm locked. Right? So that's how you're taking advantage of that. Go ahead, do your rounds. Yeah. All right, I want everybody to work on those a little faster, a little bit more bursty, and remember those good falls. The fall on this step, the fall is what gets you to distance. The longer you hold that lean over your balance, the farther you end up going. Nice. Last week, we actually took a whole step off of rotation with side on Tuesday, just by making her hold longer before she did her crossing. We made her hold a little longer, and then all of a sudden she was way over here. And just by making her hold a little longer, the greater the movement was around, and she went from 6 steps to 5 steps to get around a pelt. And that's what we're really looking for, is that long, hold it as long as you can. It's like I'm falling, I gotta move. All right. That's the idea. All right, I'm going to watch a few people. That's it. Nice. Now, Octa, I want you to hold as long as possible. Lead with that hip and hold it until you feel like your burst is huge. Yeah, really focus on it. Yes. Almost like you're almost going to fall down. Your feet have to catch. Don't safe. Yes, that's the way. You see how much more burst there is into that? Yes. So don't play it safe. Now, play it as safe as you have to for your knees, but don't let yourself cheat. Abelard, I want to see it. Better. You're at least not turning sideways all the way this time, and your feet are getting in better positions. Nice, Gatuvio. That's awesome. You're doing a great job. All right, Corey, again. Go ahead and hit some strikes.
Unplug that and carry it wherever.
As soon as I figure out how to, there we go. All right, let's see. Right here. There you are. Awesome. Boy, you're making that thing rock. That's awesome. Nice. Good. All right, so you're all looking pretty comfortable with this. So you guys all know our next one is going to be all about adding essentially a second step. So we're going to take both of these, what is going to be a small gathering step and then a crossing step. All right, and there's a couple ways. In fact, I'll let Saib show this. So she's going to show that there's a small gathering step. And she steps forward on that gathering step so she frees the swing of her back foot. And swing and then readjust. There we go. Step, swing, just. Step, swing, just. Good. All right. Go ahead and drop into those like you were last week. All right. So everybody give those a try.
So you're stepping first with the foot on the direction that you're moving first?
And you're just sliding. And that's what gets you the distance on these. That was like 4. Good. So that's what gives you the distance on these. And again, like Sir Louis showed us last week, there's 2 places, or the week before, there's 2 places to strike in this movement. There's one on the first step, and then there's one on, you can bang, bang, right? So for most of you, you can think about that as 2 strikes when we're going to stop, bang, and then the crossing step. So it's bang, bang. But if you have to do it, make sure you have the movement right first before you throw striking in. Grimmer, make sure you're turning that front foot. Yeah, nice, Octa. You're really getting those see how much bigger those are all of a sudden because you're trusting yourself?
Yeah, it's down to like 2 steps around.
I know, isn't that crazy? And that's what really, that's what creates burst. By trusting where you are in your body, even if you don't necessarily have that natural burst, we're training that burst into you.
My hardest part is to get my stance back. I end up in a square stance.
Yeah, I do a little bit too in this exercise with the double step.
Gatulio, watch your feet. When you swing them over, make sure they point the direction you want to be going, not turning after you land.
Nice to have you here, Ron Golder. Alex, how you doing? Like you're in a new space. Awesome.
Just had to do baby bath and bed. Come back.
Gotcha. Oh, that was nice, Angie. Nice job, Angie. That is it. Love it. Good, Ken. Can't see that. Good. You're doing a nice job there. A couple of times you lost that because you were throwing and you're still not sure in your feet. So remember, try to get the feet first and then the throwing after. Go ahead, Franz.
Was it Ksenia who's in blue?
That was Ksenia.
Ksenia, I like the movement you're doing, but your feet are wide, so it's making you unable to lean. So do the same things, but keep your feet no wider than about your shoulders. That's better. Does it feel better?
She says it feels better.
Good. What happens is when your feet get wide, your stance becomes very strong, but also very immobile. When it becomes narrow, it becomes more mobile. If it gets too narrow, then it becomes unstable. So that shoulders width is a good point where you have enough stability, but still maintain your mobility.
As we go through this step, initially we lean, take that one step out. Do we keep our weight ahead of our feet as we go to the second step? Or do we change levels? How is that working?
You always want to be in the same level, right? So here I am. I'm leaning, and I'm going to say lean, but you're actually not. You're leading your hip over your foot on this 45. So
taking the entire stack from the hips up and moving it.
And so in this case, what's happening is I step, my body is still leading my feet. It's almost like I'm falling. So to give you a feel, here I am. Let's do it this way. I'm just going to go sideways on this, but here I am. Now I've got to cross. And then I can just keep going because my hip is leading. Where if I change this and I step too big, now I'm not leading this. The foot is outside my hip. Now I actually have to push myself even farther. This is why, like this first little step, if you make it too big, my foot is way outside my hip and it's hard to get to the next exercise. Louis showed this earlier on. Small little step and your body is over your feet. So your hip is over your feet. But if I take too big of a step, here, my hip is over my feet. Now my hip is literally, my foot is way beyond my hip. Now I'm stuck. This is the same reason, like, I take a step backwards and I take too big of a step, I can't move anymore. But if I take a half step back, I can still move. So what we're doing is we're learning that flow of the body and how your center is controlling your motion. Look how small my feet are here. I can go forward and back. But as soon as I go, you can see how jerky that becomes. And because it's jerky, you actually slow your movement down. Okay, so that same thing goes in this exercise. Small foot, I'm just allowing it to flow. We're going to show a little exercise that's a good partner exercise in this after we go through 2 more drills here. And this is an exercise you can do by yourself as well, but it's a very nice exercise that you can do with a partner to learn how to read and handle a fight better. We good? Okay. All right, the next one is going to be essentially, let's do our triangle steps. So both of these are gather steps. If you remember these, now you can go ahead, do a few of those, and then go ahead and add the throws. She's going to turn it so you can see the gather step a little better. You should be in the kind of 45s of your opponent. So the reason why this one's important is this is what literally you can do with your, instead of maybe a switch step from corner to corner. Oh, so go ahead, get some of those in, guys, and I'm going to show you how to do it in.
Octa, it should Octa, your lead foot should change with each step. So you end up funny foot on one of those and back dance on the other. If you think of it, like a triangle, the way you were standing, your right foot is on one corner of the triangle, your left foot's on the back corner. Then your left foot would step forward and right. No, go back. Step forward and to your left with your left foot. So you end up with your feet parallel. Yep. And then the second step is your right foot goes back to where the left foot was.
Right, so if you do it really slow in the box, I'll show you. Here I am. My right
He's not switching feet. That's what's happening.
My right foot is in the box here. I step over, I lean to this corner, and I put my foot here, and then I put my left foot in the box where the right foot was before.
So you're switching leads then?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were keeping the same lead. I was working on keeping the same lead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is switching feet. Because it's a standard.
You know how to do. That's the habit I'm trying to break.
No problem.
Standing square against the corner.
What's that?
You're kind of going from this side to
Square,
instead
yeah,
of corner to corner. It's confusing because I put them on an angle. So
There we go.
that
Yeah, he's kind of using the ladder still is the problem.
I just wanted the feet to be visible.
Just watch trying to, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Hit that arm, tend to hit that arm a lot. There you go.
Any tips for throwing a flat snap when moving to the shield side?
So there's the flat snap above the sword. So here I am. I'm going to stand so you can see here. Let's go up a little bit so you can see. All right. So if I'm going to triangle step over here, I could throw it way up and high and break your hand down because you got to get edge on. Your sword.
I mean to your shield side.
Okay, here we go. So the flat snap here is much harder. So here, if I'm here and I take this step, usually I'm going to throw the gap. But you can throw the flat snap.
You can also go to that shield side to pick up a left-hander's leg.
Right. So throw this. Right?
Wrong, Valder. I think you misspoke. I think you meant right-hander's leg.
Right. So if I'm switching and I'm a left-hander, turning left-handed.
I'm a lefty.
So here I am.
You are correct, Grimmer.
Side you want. I'm just going to do this. Bang. Right into that hip. Or I can do this crossing and hook right into the back or the head.
I like the kidney wrap right there.
Yes. The only reason why I say back and head for Grimmer is he's like 6'6". All right. So, and Grimmer, you should be doing this from way outside. So you could literally be way away from your opponent and use that range you have. So you do this triangle stepping, bang, and your opponent's still too far away to hit you really. Okay? So you can use that range. Don't have to be close to do that. In fact, you don't really want to be. Don't give your opponent an opportunity. Right. You want to try that one more? You good. Nice.
Wrong, Valder. That was supposed to be a joke. I knew you knew what you were saying.
I got it late. Thanks.
You left-handers have bad jokes. They're all left-handers.
Agnes, that is much better since you dropped your height. That was a good call on your part.
All right, let's move on to the shuffle. The shuffle version is, again, this first foot's going to come across a little bit. Here, you can bring it literally to the back foot. And I literally click my heels. Okay? Or you can bring your foot right across and get a little bit more distance. Okay? Clicking really.
For those who don't know, this is still a switching stance. So the lead foot changes every time.
The good part about this one is it ends up being very fast and you can stay away from your opponent, right? So if I'm fighting side here, a little better than last week. Ready? So all of a sudden, she takes a small step one way and then a bigger step the other way. So we're going to just. So in this case, what I'm going to do is try to get in her corner first. She doesn't move her feet. So then I bring it right back across. Bang. Bang. Bang.
Is this TikTok or is that something different?
What's that?
Is this TikTok or is that something different?
This is the shuffle, but it's what we used to call the TikTok.
I'm trying to get away from that name.
Could you show it again slowly because I'm feeling stupid?
Yeah, no problem. This is actually not an easy step, and there's a couple of ways to do it. So let's do the first way. This foot goes almost in front of the other foot. And then you bring this one foot forward so that literally now you're switch foot. And then we do the same thing back. This foot can come, I usually touch heels. Heel to heel and out. Heel to heel and out.
Okay, that makes sense. I was confused because I wasn't sure if it was actually crossing leg or not, but it's not quite.
So later you can do some crossing leg there, but you have to be careful when you do because you'll end up changing your range some while you do that.
When we watch Branos do it at speed, you actually do cross your legs a little bit.
So,
or it looks that way.
Yeah.
So literally, I bring this foot, and they both lift up and slide together, go like this. Right? The feet are literally sliding both together a little bit here. So instead, now what I do is I do that same thing, but I change the way my feet point. So if you want to start this one, what you could do is literally hold your feet and go sideways. Okay? Here we go sideways. Now this time I'm going to turn my feet at the end here. And that's how I get my turns.
Yeah, in the middle, you have both your feet unweighted, though.
Yes, in the middle, they're both unweighted, actually.
You have a very interesting hip mechanic that pulls the weight off the first foot, shifts it to the back foot, and then pushes it back to the front foot. It's almost like it's not a rotational circle like we're used to. It's rotating this way, which is really great. And it's like an oval rotation. I love it.
Yeah, an oval rotation. That's what gives that freeness on both feet in the center.
You missed your calling as a belly dancer, Bronos.
I don't think anybody'd want to see that.
I don't know. I might pay a couple of bucks for the laughs.
That sounds to me like a really good Kingdom fundraiser, travel fundraiser right there.
Can we just go to the dunk tank instead?
Bronos, I have a question.
You've got me already.
Go ahead.
So, your stance is wider, like not wide, like wide. What I mean by wide is like your feet are like relatively closer together, like heel to heel. This is just me. I'm finding that the thing that I'm doing, and I think it's my martial arts and fencing background, is that my back foot is further back because I've naturally been trained to fight with more weight on my back foot.
Yes.
So
let me start.
I'm trying to figure out how to, because what my body wants to do is different.
Right. So what your body wants to do is fall forward instead of sideways.
Yeah.
So what happens in fencing is you want to be most of your body, your back foot turns out, so most of your body sits on that back foot.
Yeah.
So instead, what I want you to do is just turn your your back foot a little more forward. That will freeze your hip to point more forward. Right. So you freeze your hips for rotational of the hip. Right. So here we are. If I'm like this, my rotation kind of either has to be really big.
Yeah.
Or literally it stops right about there. Where if I turn it already forward, what I do is I put a person, if I have angles coming out my feet, if you watch my toes, my toe points there, that little wedge is where I keep my opponent all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as I can keep my opponent in whatever space that I'm used to my opponent being, then then you're throwing the same things you always throw, which is fine because that's how you practice them.
Yeah.
So, but if you turn this out, what happens is my opponent now, I'm facing really my opponent, my hips are naturally this way. Mm-hmm. Where if it's forward, look where my hip is.
Okay.
Right? So here we are. The idea is usually my toe to heel, out, step, like you're getting ready to run a race.
Okay.
All right? You're in the blocks, you're ready to start. And that's where you are.
All right.
Okay? So that's how I do my feet. The hard part, and I've seen guys turn, like I see these guys, they'll turn their foot in like this in these positions. Because what's happening is there's less of a turn on that front to go ahead and get a little more power in that front hip.
Yeah.
But in this position, your hip is pretty far turned already. You have to literally cock it a little bit. So it's up to you. Now in these TikToks, what happened here is I can start out this way. Here I am.
Yeah.
As soon as they come together, right? Here I am. I'll switch. I tend to get them a little wider, which is bad, and a little flatter. So it's stuff I need to work on. I'm not perfect on those. I'm still working on that. But that's where you're going to see some of this. If I was the right way, I'd be here. You see my body, back foot's almost heel to toe again back here. And then I would bring this across, and then I'd be here, heel to toe again.
Okay.
Bring it across, here, heel to toe. And again, too wide, I'm outside my hips. We want to keep them about hip distance.
Okay.
So, but we're not going to be perfect. The idea is that you're comfortable in your body and your movement.
Yeah.
And then we try to make it better every time.
Okay.
All right. All right. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and do a couple more of those, and then we are going to work on, I'm going to show a little exercise that you can work on with a partner. And you don't have to have a partner to do this. I do this with our folks a lot at practice. This is something that Paul really calls the force between people, or essentially what I used to call the energy between people, or tension. But it's actually just the distance and reading your opponent's position to move is where the key is. The more we tap into making a connection with your opponent, the better you're able to essentially predict what they're going to do and take advantage of it. All right, I'm just finishing watching a few people. How are they looking out there, Ron?
Actually, my screen just locked up, so I'm no help for a moment.
Okay, no problem. Swing that hip on your shield, Vern. There you go. Yeah, swing the hip more and you'll get your feet back into the proper places. Think about swinging that hip forward. Make it one step. All right. All right. So let me show you guys real quick. This is an exercise that we actually do all the time in the backyard. And this is kind of Paul's exercise. This is a great exercise to do with anybody. We do it with especially newer people. But even as I work on this, even as, you know, been in 30 years. And that is, we apply perfect tension and force or intent to an opponent. So if I start leaning forward over my hip, you notice how she takes it away. Her back is still nice and straight, but I didn't move my feet yet. See how she's just mimicking my movement? And then I'm going to step, and she's going to step back. There we go. And then I'm going to pull. You notice, see how she's totally mimicking my movement here. And then I'm going to come back. You got it. In this step, I'm going to get ready to step outside, and she's going to mimic that movement. Okay? The idea, and we're going super slow here because the job of this isn't to do it fast. The job is to get a good connection with your opponent. And that connection is, we just tie, we look right at that person globally or whatever you're usually looking into. And then we get some tension. And we can speed this up as we go. You notice she's going to try to keep mimicking, and you just adjust. Perfect. The good part about this is because we're mimic each other perfectly, neither of us are in lead of this fight. In other words, if she follows my movement, then I'm in the lead. If I do this, and then she follows, then I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. Watch what's happened now. That's right. So I make her do that first one because she's following, and then I change it. But if she's just following with me, she doesn't care, right? Oh, that's right.
I disagree. You are 100% leading in that exercise.
Yeah, but not as much as
because it's slow.
Right, because it's slow, right? But here we're gonna I'm gonna pick this up, and we're gonna do it like we do in fight practice. So just go ahead with me, like I'm gonna hit you. There you go. Go ahead. You take it over. See, now she took it over, and I'm just staying. And now I might take it back over. See how we're mimicking each other a little bit? So what's happening in there, she took over that fight a little bit. Then when I had the opportunity, I took it. And then when she had the opportunity, she took it back. We're not trying to do that fast. What we're trying to do is perform that in a way that keeps us safe. Because if I'm not looking at her and she moves and I just respond, then she's all of a sudden she's going around me and I'm reacting poorly. If I make a good connection and I see that tension, oh, see, now I'm automatically I'm light on my feet and I'm just responding. Okay, so there is I can read and respond very quickly compared to if I set up really hard and she moves. And I'm trying to set up in between every one of these. You can see she's taking advantage of that because I'm like, I get solid, I got tension in my body, and I have to release tension before I can turn. She's already not tense and falling into stuff. She's totally able to do stuff right away, where if I want to turn and I'm tense here, I'm getting ready to throw and she moves, then I need to release my tension and then I got to move. It's 2 steps. So the idea is to stay and learn flow. This is where that idea of dancing comes into place, right? A dancer doesn't push the other person around the floor. They glide. So here I am, I'm just going to walk. You could do this walking right in front. And then she's just worrying about perfect range. She's kind of reading my body language. See how we don't have to be in touch to do this. We're just reading. Look how easy. See how she stays right there? That's a dance, right? That's understanding the flow of a fight. And really, that's why people call fighting is, the idea of dance within. It's the dance of the fight. It's the build. It's not pushing your opponent around. It's making them flow into locations. And then maybe finding where they're weak in that flow and taking advantage of it. Defensively, if you have good connection, then as soon as we're flowing and side starts giving me some tension, then I can go ahead and make an easy block because I can see that tension, right? So I can see when she tensens up, and then I can go into a block. But if I'm always in tension, you can see she's flowing and I'm not feeling really comfortable because I feel like I'm reacting really badly. So when you first do this, do it without sword and shield. And let it go to set on side. Do it walking around with somebody. And then I'm going to show one thing how you can do this by yourself, by the way. Just do it walking around with bent knees. Just gliding. Just gliding with bent knees. Look, I'm changing the weight. I'm changing my belly weight forward. There you go. I'm changing it to the side. I'm changing it back. Now she actually had control there for a second. Yeah. And now she's pulling. And then she changes that. You see how now I'm in control. And it's really hard to tell who's in control because we're flowing in that fight. Right? So the idea is what these things are doing for you is building flow and building that real subtle controls of shifting your weight from inside your hips. So one of the things that we'll practice, and we'll do it right here, and I'm gonna do falling forward first. So here we go. We're gonna just do the forward steps. But no, you can throw it right outside. So I'm gonna take my hip, I'm gonna lean over my front foot, and I'm gonna just keep my nice small feet. So if you're doing this by yourself, push. Look at my foot is behind my hip now. And then I'm keeping nice small feet. You can see side just like driving through this. She's just falling. It's like I'm falling forward. And you can feel yourself kind of get that run. All right, so I want everybody to try going forward that way. If you only have 2 or 3 feet, that's fine. Yeah. And then remember, nice and stacked. There we go. Okay, big fist. Now get that lean into the front. There you go. Good. You should feel like you're almost always falling forward in this until you're ready to stop. We're going to do this backwards in a second. But you can see it's not your feet pulling you. It's your body. Your whole front of your body is like here, and I'm pulling my feet along. All right, this is a part of a class that I'll do. We'll spend half the day helping you understand how your center moves your body, and this is part of that. I have some videos. We'll post up the link later to what we're doing in the videos. So everybody had a chance at this, so let's go ahead, everybody back here. The next one on this is, I'm not going to go to the backwards right away. I'm going to actually go This time, I'm gonna fall off this way. In other words, I'm gonna fall off to my right. Just like we're passing around the drill, this time I'm not gonna turn my foot as I'm passing around. I'm just gonna fall off on a 45-degree angle. I'm not turning my body and walking this way. I am literally just leaning, right? So I'm gonna lean into this angle, and I follow that way. And what that does is it teaches you, again, my hip is leading here. So watch what happens when Saad does this with me. You're gonna be falling forward, right over here. She's gonna do this with me. I think I'm being a good fighter, and I'm gonna back out on a 45-degree angle. She's in throwing mode the whole time. I did the right thing, but because she can travel on a good angle, look, she's straight in front of me that whole time. Her hips are straight in front of me. Watch what would happen if she turns first. See, now she's losing that angle. She's this way, right? Now her hips are still in front of me, but she's kind of falling behind. In this space, there was no turn at all. All she does is, she knows which way I'm going. Look at this, now she can change it. Watch. Now we'll do a little serpentine here. Here we go. Here we go. See how she's staying right in front of me? Not only is she staying in front of me, but she's controlling the distance between us. All we're doing is the same thing we've been doing all day long, and that is we're shifting our hips, our weight of our hips, right? And we're making sure we take nice small steps. So this time I want you to do a little bit of serpentine. Sideways one way and then back the other way. Kind of like Saad was doing.
You know, with an actual direction change.
So now what's happening is your upper body is exactly where it's supposed to be, and your lower body is carrying you around. No problem. Right? And you can throw because your upper body's in its right space. So even as I'm going here, I can still be throwing. And I'm going forward. And I'm still throwing because my upper body's right. But if I'm going on an angle and I turn my upper body, then I'm throwing this way. And then all of a sudden they change, I gotta turn again. So as you get to understand this better, there is no better place when somebody thinks they have good footwork, and probably does, because if they're moving outside on an angle. I think I'm great at footwork, and I just go, oh, and she's still in front of me throwing. I'm like, now what do I do? We learn not to go straight backwards, because then she could just walk me down. So I'm always told, when you bail, go to the court sideways. But if she has that connection with me, and she's just following me, I'm like, no, I can't get her off. It's like, get off of me, right?
No.
Okay. That's
everybody. If I can interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm seeing a lot is when people are moving, they're listening to you, they're falling in the direction well, but people have to remember it's not literally falling over. You are sitting low and shifting your hip off balance and then following with your feet. You're not tilting over. If you're standing up and tilting, then you're literally falling and you start the bobbing thing again. Remember how through all of this, we've always talked about sitting low, knees bent. So that same height you maintain through all of these. So when you lean, it's not an arcing, it's a sideways slide with your torso off of your feet, and then you catch yourself, if that makes sense.
I'll show you guys another example of what Ronwalder's talking, because he's 100% right. So here's another example of that. So I take my spot. There we go. So for her, we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna go back into the corner. Watch her back. First time she's gonna lean like what Ronwalder's talking. So you're gonna lean forward here, ready? And chase me with your shoulder. You see how her back dips and her butt dips out and gets that duck butt? We're gonna do it really slow. You see how she's kind of falling forward with her shoulders? All her angles start shooting down. So she can't throw a high head snap. Now watch her back. Look how she's perfectly straight. Okay?
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Right? You see how that back ends up perfectly straight? I can throw the same angles I do all the time. If you throw from one place all the time, how good is that place going to be? Your accuracy is going to be incredible. Your blocks are going to be good. You don't have to recover from stuff because you can throw the next one because you're in the right place. So we have to practice on being in that right place. So we're kind of, yes, that's the way, Octa. So think of a person in front of you now and get your hands up and pretend you're fighting somebody. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Like now you're in total control. Now go backwards sometimes. Yes. And you see how easy it is to change those angles because your hips just drop out, right? You're literally, your hip, you just push over one hip and you're falling away. So for everybody, that's that flow that we're working on. The good part is when you get a partner to do this, it's really, you start tapping into that connection and you can really kind of feel it. If it gets messed up and stuff, that's fine. Slow it down again and then build it back up again. And then you can add, after a while, you can add a little bit more stick and feel it. But when we're single here, the idea is keep that nice back. And you're just changing. It's like literally flowing. And you can feel that change in the stomach. Your belt is nice and square to the ground all the time. Yes. Nice. Good, Tolio. That is your back is looking really good. Now stay down. Don't keep those knees bent.
Catulio, keep your eyes up.
Yeah.
You're thinking about your body, which is making you drop your eyes, which drops your head, which drops your shoulders. So bring your focus up to an opponent the same height or taller.
Exactly. That's really important for Grimmer as well. All right, let's see. Oh, hey, here's a good example of a couple of folks. There we go. Good. Nice, you two. You feel that connection? Exactly. Yes. That's the connection we make with opponents. If you do not have connection, then you're taking a chance. All right, let's see the next two.
You know what else is good about them as an example is if you watch their feet, they sometimes take small steps, they sometimes do a gather, and they sometimes do a crossover, all depending on where they need to be, but they're not thinking about, I need to do a crossover, I need to do a gather, I need to do a blah, blah, blah.
All right, watching you, Grimmer, I want to see. You better be looking up. Remember, that's it.
You always catch him right as he's.
You're the Sasquatch, man. Make yourself big. Yes, nice job, brother. Yes. Hey, and you're doing an okay job going backwards. So the hardest part about going backwards in this exercise for everybody is, let me show you. We're going to go to the foot cam. Because backwards is part of this. And the hardest part is trusting your body to catch yourself. Most people want to go backwards. They stick their butt, they balance with their shoulders, and then they step. So in football, it's exactly, I'm a cornerback, I get on my toes and I push with my toes. You see how my body collapses? So if I'm holding sword and shield, look what happens to my normal shape. Here I am, I'm gonna go backwards. See, my angle's just turned down, right? Now if we do this right, now watch my body. Here I am, I sit. I literally sit into a chair. Look, I'm gonna catch myself, right? Now, if I lean my back too far, I can't catch myself anymore. Literally, I almost fell down. So you don't want to lean your shoulders. Look, this is back. This is wrong. All I'm doing is sitting and keeping my body straight. You can do this, and you don't take big feet. If I sit and I take a big feet, I'm stuck. Okay? It's just a little like 4 inches. And just at the first time you do this, do it super slow. Here I am, I'm sitting. Oh, okay, I can feel my body pulling me back. And that's the way you start that. Later on, I might have a person attacking me, and I'm gonna tell her which side to attack me on. And this time she's gonna attack me on my right side. She's gonna pass right through my right hip, and I'm just gonna sit into the left hip. So what's happening here is as she attacks, I'm going slow. I lean over this hip. I lean over this hip. You see how this hip is shifting into that 45? Here I am. She runs by, I lean, and then I lean right out of it. kind of like the way you do a bull. You know, if you're a matador, you're sitting here, it's like, okay, you're ready. It's like, right? And we get that. Now she attacks this hip. I can literally drop out with my right leg. I'll do it slow. Attack right at that hip. Good. There we are. Okay.
The unspoken rule here is the shoulders always are staying over the hips. So when you guys hear Bronna say, sit and drive with your hips, the unspoken finish of that sentence is, and make sure your shoulders stay over your hips the whole time.
We talk about body stacking, all of your big heavy parts from your hips up to your shoulders. Think of it like a stack of books. If I'm gonna move it, I have to move the whole thing upright. If I pick one end of it and lead with it, the whole stack falls
down. That whole stack's gonna fall down.
So you gotta take the entire stack from the hips up and move it as a unit. Forward, back, wherever you're going. It's gotta stay upright.
And you know, given her thought on that, it's actually a really good one. I love that analogy she just used, to tell you the truth. If you hold something in your hand like this.
Yeah, the cup of water.
The cup of water.
Don't spill your water.
I'm gonna go backwards.
Your body is a cup of water.
Okay, so you gotta watch how fast you're gonna go forward. Watch how fast you start. In this case, there we go. I gotta slow up on the back. Here I go. I can build speed forward and then slow. Right, I can fall out. I can fall this way. Right? But if I lean, watch what happens. Here I go. Whoop, here I go. I lean forward. Now I'm like doing everything I can to hold the bottle. Right? So that kind of gives you, that book idea that she just gave you is an excellent visual clue to how our back is done.
Yeah, your body is the Jenga tower. Don't
Yep.
knock it over.
And in fighting, what that does is it makes you really solid.
I'm so stealing that water bottle.
Good. And the good part about this is it always leads you. You can change your speeds, you can change your angles, but your body is always ready to throw. Right? It's almost like they're two separate places. You can separate the bottom and the top. Octa, does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Flatbed truck.
Yeah.
Right at your
Yep.
hip hinge.
Exactly. And the good part is this is how you create flow. And then later we change flow in a fight. If I really want to, we change the tempo of a flow in a fight, and that changes the fight. The more control you have on your body, and the more we understand how to move and do stuff, the less we have to worry about doing that because it's natural. The more we can now change and slow it down and speed it up and use that as an effective way to break your opponent down.
You were talking about the bull. That's my favorite guy to fight.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to call this one the bottle level drill.
Well, we'll give this one a side. I love the book thing. That was awesome. So how's everybody feel about this? Was this helpful?
Absolutely.
Right?
Ksenia has too much experience guarding people in Ultimate Frisbee. I can't shake her.
So this one's kind of fun. I know people that actually use this with dogs. So they got jumper dogs or the dog's chasing them around the yard. Sometimes a dog can be they're really good. You can change your flow, you can change your pace, and the dog has to change theirs, or you try to do stuff, chasing them around in the yard instead of chasing, you're literally just flowing with them in the yard. And you're like, come doggy, get you,
So now your dog is your drill partner.
So now your dog is your drill partner,
Perfect.
And so there's lots of different ways to do that. And, again, we're going to have drill partners as everybody starts getting their vaccines and things. Or you may have, a couple of us have spouses in the household or friends in the household that are already quarantining together. That's all. Hey, Cardigan, you're looking awesome. The back stuff is beautiful. But so this gives us a chance to start working with other people and creating that connection. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm not going to close Facebook down because I'm just going to present something. We're not going to work on it, but I'm going to show you something that and I like doing this at the end, so it gives you something to think about, and I don't surprise you next week when we talk about it more. But that same idea of using connection can also go, you know what, I'm going to use it with my hands. So Saib, here we are. I'm going to hit Saib's hand, okay? And this is straight out of this way or this way? All right, here we go. This is Michael J. White.
Working with Kimbo.
Working with Kimbo Slice. All right, so I'm going to try to hit her hand as fast as I can, like a jab. And you see how she pulls it away? Look at that, right? She's pretty fast. Okay, she's doing a great job at that. Right, there we go. That's right. So you notice now I don't add any tension with my body, and all I do is I look at her, I create a connection. So she's not. Why can't she do that anymore? Wait, let me get it faster. Right now I'm gonna try to put tension first. Oh, when I put tension, so like she says, what's the difference between the two?
There's no tell when you don't tense up first. It just goes.
Right.
And so I don't get the sense of urgency to get out of the way.
So that's why it's important for us to be comfortable and relaxed when we're doing things. Here's another example. I'm gonna travel. You know the drill we just did with distance, and you guys, if you have a partner, you can try this. We're gonna keep that same exact distance. Watch this. Ready? There we go. She's keeping a perfect distance. Awesome. So I've got good connection. She has a really good connection with me right now. Yes, now we're digging into that connection. All I did, you notice that I just took up 2 feet. You know what I did is, wow, I'm going to look at all you guys. Here I am. I'm looking at you. And I'm in here. Look, I'm fighting you guys. Okay? Now I go. All of a sudden, what happens is I take that connection away. And we build our fight on that connection. So if you throw that connection away for a second, your opponent is lost. He doesn't have a connection. He's figuring out what happened. And now I'm walking right up. So here we are.
It works even if you're not staring them in the eyes.
No,
like, you can be looking in the middle of the chest or whatever.
Here she is.
It still works.
She'll look right at the middle of my chest. Here we are. She can feel that energy.
Your peripheral vision is still picking up
right?
what he's looking at.
She can feel that energy in here. Let me do it right here. She can feel there. There we are. Where we are. And then I'm going to give her a little pressure. I'm going to build that connection. There we go. Building that connection with tension. And you can hardly see it, but she's feeling it. Right? Right. Now, I threw it away before I stepped. Now watch. If I keep it while I step. See how much faster she responds? That same thing like the hand, the tension hand or the no tension hand hitting. That same thing's happening in, I release that tension on somebody literally just by turning my head. In this case, I just turn my head and go. Because what that does is it physically breaks that. But I could also, lots of tension, and then let it up and walk right at her. So she's building, she's like, oh, there's a ton of tension. I'm ready. And then I release, and they're like, oh, they're releasing the tension, but I'm actually going forward. You see what's happening in that is we're using all of this stuff to build a fight.
It's great for hiding leg shots too.
Yep, it's the same thing for leg shots and things. So I want to just introduce that at the end. It's a big concept that I'm just going to throw out, and we'll talk more about, and we'll show how it's done a little more next week. But really, right now, before we can do that, all those things you guys just did today, all of the falling back and hips leading all the time and that body stacked, that is a fight. You guys are all understanding how to control your body better. I tell you, that is the biggest part of fighting, total control of yourself. If we have that, then everything becomes easier. All right? So that's where we're getting to, and I just wanted to throw the little more advanced techniques. Those are very advanced techniques that I just talked about, and Rongvalder can tell you. Some of them are almost brand new, but I wanted to throw those out there so it gives you guys an idea that there's more all the time. But right now, we're really digging into those hard basics, and I can tell you guys are doing from the beginning when people were leaning all over the place and their body was leaning all over the place to now. You guys are so much better. So much better. So that's what we're working on. Everybody feel better about the way they hold, like move and control their body? You can thumbs up. That's fine. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to drop off Facebook. Thanks, anyone that's on Facebook. We hope to join you. There's a few changes maybe coming later, but I hope you had a great time on Facebook. For everyone else, we'll just wrap it up after she drops them off.
Bye, Facebook.